Remember folks, for everybody looking at the real estate investing course, a new 30 lectures are being released for all members, absolutely for free. Can't wait to see you there. Hope you enjoy the update. My trip to Miami started like any other trip to Miami for a 27-year-old real estate broker. I gave an all-day, in-person real estate investing crash course to an awesome group of people. I went for a Segway ride through the streets of Miami Beach with Lauren.
14th and Washington, okay?
Simple, I got fish, I got Segway.
Oh no, I'm not interested. So...
That is the level of interest though, Segway.
Oh, and of course, we raced some wave runners.
No wake. Lauren.
And today, we're going to talk about 3 extremely important topics when it comes to making money. Number 1, we're going to talk about the conclusion to that amazing hillside property we want to buy and either flip or Airbnb. Number 2, we're going to talk about a major shift in the marketplace that just happened, major market update. And then we'll end it off with talking about how to get your significant other interested in investing with you, aka how to get somebody else on the same page as you. Now let's get started with talking about our disagreement regarding the house with the slippery slope. It's time I talk to Lauren about, well, house on stilts. Is it a yeah but? Are we gonna buy it? What are we gonna do? Because it's causing some friction.
Yeah, like I expected, my opinion's not change.
So obviously over the last few videos, we've seen a little bit of sort of that raw behind the scenes debate that goes on between people when you're looking at investing in a property. You for sure don't want it.
Oh, what makes you think that?
It's a very real debate that happens to anybody, no matter how much knowledge or experience you have. Fortunately, knowledge or experience helps you make a rational decision after you do your due diligence. And here's an update on that due diligence. I haven't told you this yet, but I got some information on the soil condition of a property next door to this property. And I found out that it's about 75% compacted land and about 25% fill. Which the problem is, anytime you have fill on properties, that stuff settles a lot more over time. It becomes a whole lot more of a maintenance drainage issue. And one thing I hate on rental properties is maintenance. So I think I'm starting to realize that this is turning into a little bit too much of a yeah but.
Well, Kevin, I appreciate you basically telling me that I was right and you were wrong, and I knew it, so. Yeah.
See, as usual, when I inspect a property, and this is what we teach in the real estate investing course as well, I don't just get a home inspection, I also follow up on all of the additional red flags that come up. We had an electrical contractor, a plumbing contractor, a foundation expert, we had a civil engineer, a soils person, and we even got some bids on tiling and some other cosmetics, all within a time frame of about 3 days. See, in real estate, in order to make money, you've got to be fast. Now, while we're pretty comfortable with dealing with all of the cosmetics and the systems like the electrical and plumbing, the soils left us a little bit nervous. So we wanted to know, well, what would a worst case scenario be that we'd have to spend, or what would we have to do to be able to secure this property if we were going to keep it in the long run and say we were not able to flip it because of the market or whatever. 12 caissons, which are like concrete columns to support this house, would run about $10,000 a piece, plus permitting fees. So we're talking about this potential liability that in the next, 15 years, I might basically have to spend $135,000. It's just too much. It's like too risky. Like, this is what I teach in the real estate investing course. I feel like I need to take myself out and be like what I am on the live streams when I analyze people's deals, and I'm like, why? Why would you buy a house with an illegal add-on? Why would you buy a house under the freeway? Why are you buying that house? It's a yeah but. And now I'm in that situation and I need to third person myself. Kevin, it's on the hillside. First of all, it's not a median price property. What are you doing? Follow your own advice. Stop. So I think it's safe to say I'm out.
You know what I want to say to that, Kevin?
What?
Apology accepted.
Ah, stop. You always have to take credit. This is where I do a little bit of sincere self-reflecting. You know what's frustrating is, and maybe this was a mistake, but taking my dad there, he was just so gung-ho about it. And so Kevin, we could do the kitchen together, we could do some work together, look at this beautiful view, it's the best view in the city. And the other, like the actual fundamentals aren't part of that. My dad doesn't know about the sewer inspection I did, the HVAC inspection, the electrical inspection. He doesn't know about the foundation. I spent over $1,200 in inspections on this property in the last week because I really did think like there's a potential here. But unfortunately, every inspection keeps yielding red flag, red flag, red flag. It's like, how many signs do I need? And so, I think the decision's made. Now let's talk a little bit about the potential for a recession, what happens to rental properties in a recession, and of course, the major market update. Lauren, I've been getting a lot of people wondering, Kevin, the market is weird. How does Lauren even let you consider buying rental properties right now? What's your take, Lauren? Like, why don't you just respond to people?
As long as it's a good deal and the numbers make sense and you can rent it out for your ideal rental price, then of course you get it. It shouldn't be that much of a concern. And people, I see it in Kevin's comments all the time, they say something like, oh, well, just wait for the recession. All you guys are gonna be in so much trouble at the very bottom of the recession, at the crash, blah, blah, blah. And I read that and I think, no, I actually started doing property management professionally at the bottom of the market. And the worst that I saw for the rentals that I had managed was that instead of maybe raising them, $50 to $100 at their lease renewal time, you either say, okay, you're keeping the same rent, or maybe we'll decrease it a little bit. But that's not that bad. If it's still a good deal and the numbers make sense, it's still fine. So say what? Okay, you're minus $50 from the year prior, it doesn't matter. It's still a good deal.
Yeah, and I think rent reductions are pretty uncommon too, unless you're like in the pits of the market. So it's like pits of the market. Okay, my cash flow went down, $50 a month or whatever. It's not gonna bankrupt you, right? So I think the big thing for us is we're just always looking for those wedge deals, no matter what the market is. Remember, one of the big reasons things went to such crap during the last financial crisis wasn't necessarily just because some people's rents went down. It was because a lot of people were getting what were called ninja loans, no income, no job, no assets. And there were these brilliant ideas of, hey, you know what? You can't afford this property. How about we just offer it to you with a 0% interest rate or a negative interest rate just for the first 2 months, and then it'll go up to 8%. And you know what? You could always refinance, because why wouldn't you be able to refinance? Then sure enough, as values dropped and people weren't able to refinance, the system started crumbling. That does though bring up the topic of China and Trump. So let's give you a little Meet Kevin report style update, because after all, this is news that makes you money.
Namaste.
Namaste. So anyway, let's just quickly talk China, Trump. Here's the scoop. The biggest things weighing down the global economy right now that are leading people to say the recession's coming, the recession's coming. The biggest things are weaknesses in consumer confidence and manufacturing, which are triggered by the trade war between China and Brexit. And what just happened Friday is insane. Lauren, do you know what happened on Friday?
Trump talked with China.
Yeah, and interestingly, a lot of the tariffs that were going to go into effect next week got tabled during these negotiations, which, bottom line, that's really, really good for the market. So what happened on Friday? Dow goes up. Mortgage interest rates went up, which isn't that great for real estate, but it's a really good confidence. Come on! But it's a really good sign of confidence for the marketplace. And over in England, England had successful talks with Ireland for Brexit negotiations, which is also really good for the economy. So I personally think we might be seeing
an inflection point?
Exactly. So basically, if the trade tariffs and all that stuff resolves and Brexit resolves itself, two massive anchors could be removed from the market, and I'd expect to see prices actually go up despite these recession fears. And I think that the concerns of a recession might actually slowly start to fade away. But Lauren, going back to tenants, tell me a little bit, what happens to tenants during a recession anyway? Like, are there gonna be more tenants? Some people say there are gonna be more tenants, some people say they're gonna leave the area. What have you found?
At least in the area that I manage in, which is, it's more expensive, it's Southern California coastline. When the recession hit, we did have people leaving. It got too pricey for them. But we also got a whole new group of people that needed to become tenants instead of homeowners. So it kind of balanced out, and it really didn't affect the rental price too much.
Now, after our talk about the market, Lauren wanted a little bit more credit about how right she was that we passed on that house, and I had this response for her. This has happened before, where you said, I will not support you in buying this property, It was 29 minutes away from us. You did not want to manage it, and I said, this is a good deal, we're buying it. And you won on this one, but I will say I won on that one. How did that one turn out? We bought it. How did it turn out?
I mean, it turned out fine, but...
It turned out great, okay? It's the property with the most cash flow. It's almost $1 million property.
But I will say, I'm not managing it, you are. I don't do the showings. You know, I have 2 kids now. I'm not going 30 minutes that way and this way back for like one showing. So he did take that upon himself.
So I took the management and signed a 2-year lease. So I got excited, but rational minds prevailed after I did the inspections. Like, I still rationalize, okay? I don't want people to think I'm like a psycho.
No. You know,
I do get excited, and we vlogged that, okay?
He's human, and he got emotional and excited.
We shared my emotion and excitement, and it was all very real and legit. And now, after doing all the reports, I'm like, crap. And I think that's actually what's so interesting about our relationship is we've somehow figured out how to debate rationally about these investment decisions.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people have trouble with that.
Yes.
Do you have advice for how to help people that are like, hey, my husband doesn't want to invest, my spouse doesn't want to invest?
Oh my God. Yes.
See, this topic was really inspired because a lot of our followers are in relationships with people that maybe aren't as financially educated or financially savvy, and they don't see the benefits of investing. Most people watching this channel do understand the benefits of investing, but then struggle convincing the people around them to also be on board. See, it's very hard to invest in real estate when you have family members that all they do is talk about, oh, well, you're gonna go into foreclosure as soon as that tenant stops paying your rent. Makes life a little bit frustrating when it comes to investing, and it's often based in unrealistic fears.
Oftentimes it's always a man asking, how do I get my wife to be on board with investing? That needs to be answered. Let me do that. The first thing you need to recognize is that you need to understand the emotion of what your spouse is going through. They are uncomfortable. Why are they uncomfortable? It's because they don't know. They are not educated enough to know everything about investing. Investing is good because you can buy the real estate investing course and learn all you need to know with the 23% off coupon. Namaste. Investing is good because it takes your income to the next bracket. If you look at anybody that is wealthy, they not only own their own home, but they odds are own investment properties as well. You need to surround yourself with people, with courses, with books, all the information needed to where you feel the most confident you can be to make that step forward. And also, you should hire a real estate agent that knows how to invest themselves. Oh my gosh, I had this real estate agent. He says, yeah, I represent investors, but I don't believe in investing in real estate. I invest in real estate investment trusts. I don't buy my own rentals. And I'm like, done. Interview over. Not the agent I would be using to buy rentals. If I'm gonna go buy rental property somewhere, I want an agent working in that neighborhood. A lot of people are like, oh, but then he's gonna steal your deals. How many properties do you think your agent can freaking afford? If he can afford to constantly steal every deal that comes up, he don't need to be representing you. The second thing, if you, with the whole idea of investing, are putting the load on your spouse's shoulder of, oh yeah, and you'll be the property manager, you'll just take care of that. That's wrong. Well, that's what I do every time. I was gonna go buy this hillside property going, Lauren, guess what you're doing now? You're managing an Airbnb. The thing is property management is not something that you should put on somebody new. You should hire a property manager. That could be part of their concern. It could be a two-part thing. Not only do they not know about investing, but they don't want to be a property manager because honestly, it's a profession. A lot of people see property management as just opening up a door, letting people see a place, and then collecting a rent check. But there's unfortunately a lot more to it, and that's what creates a lot of tension when a spouse or significant other just says, hey, you know what? You just do the management. You just collect the rent. It's easy. There are legalities, there are liabilities, contracts, psychology, all this stuff that you can't just load on to a new person. After you gain all this knowledge and say you own your own house and you realize that it's not as bad as the horror stories you actually hear, it gets to a point where you know you're ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim. You need to shoot and fire. You need to get your first investment property. Which, like we always teach, could be the house that you own and live in that you're converting into your first rental. All right, Lauren, since you're in this back alley, any pro tips for us? If you're ever on the phone with a tenant and you have important information that was discussed over the phone, you should always follow up after the phone call. Email the tenant and say, just as a recap of what we discussed on the phone, you said this, I agreed to this, you said this, blah, blah, blah. Lay out the whole conversation, written documentation, very important.
You know, Lauren, as much as you're pissed at me about this hillside deal, you know, I think eventually we ended up coming to the right decision. But I think it's actually really valuable to have this sort of dissension and disagreement because I think it makes us better investors. What do you think?
Honestly, always good to have the devil's advocate sometimes. And not that I was necessarily that, but it was a different outlook, and I think that outlook was better.
You know, sometimes newer course members join and they post a deal that they want me to analyze, and then I'm like, no, like go through the lectures, this is so wrong, like don't buy this, don't buy this. And sometimes I worry I'm like too aggressive or I come across as too negative when I'm like pounding some of these deals. I mean, sometimes I'm like, this is a great wedge deal, buy it. But, you know, and there are other times I'm like, run. And I kind of feel like you had to do that to me here.
Wait, I had a real estate pro tip. If you are ever taking applications from anybody, and with most applications you should be requiring some type of application fee to run their credit because you should be running credit, make sure the application fee is only given in cash. Because believe it or not, you could actually accept checks from people and people will actually stop payment to their check if they know that they're not going to get the place.
Well, there you have it. Follow me on Instagram. Thanks so much for watching. Check out the links below to my in-person crash course events like San Francisco and Vegas coming up next, and of course the online courses with private live streams.